to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. All things hockey, all the time. And now, here are your hosts, two washed-up beer leaguers who have no idea what they're talking about, Zach Martin and Alex Nuttall.
What's up, everybody? We are back for another glorious episode of the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports and sponsored by Pure Hockey, Spy Optic, and Romeo's Pizza. Zach, how are you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Excited to do some hockey talk, hockey movie talk, actually. But no, I'm really excited about this, man. This is fun. The people wanted us to do a hockey movie top 10, and we're here for the people. So we're doing a top 10 hockey movie list. And I'm actually excited for this list. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There might be some hot takes. I don't know how much of hot takes like our jerseys ones were, but I still think this is gonna be a solid list for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
There's gonna be some hot takes. There's one thing I have a question for you on, sir, but we'll get to that when we get higher in the list, because I am very disappointed in you. Very.
Well, that's actually par for the course, because it seems like at least once a week. It seems like every week you're disappointed with something I say or do. So you know what?
Absolutely.
It just sounds on brand with our podcast, honestly.
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah. One thing we are going to point out as a disclaimer, there's some of these movies we haven't watched in a long, long time. So some of the details of the movies we do not really remember. Just understand that. For example, there's going to be some movies that I probably haven't seen since I was like 11 years old. So keep in mind, it's been a while.
Yeah, there's gonna be some times where I've seen this maybe once, and it's been probably over a decade since I've seen these movies. So yeah, just bear with us on some of these movie reviews. That there's gonna be a lot of stuff that we're not gonna remember. So if there seems like we're gonna move past a lot of them pretty quick, and there's ones we're gonna talk about more, just know that it's just our memories are not that good of certain movies that we've seen maybe once in our lifetime.
Yeah. So while we're hitting this top 10 hockey movie list, before we get there, I have to have a quick shout out. The number one basketball movie in history is this Butte in Space Jam. You cannot prove me otherwise. I don't really care what you have to say. Fight me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've seen some hockey or basketball movies, but I can't really give you my favorite one, because it's just it's basketball. So, I mean, it is what, I mean, I guess you can maybe say Blue Chippers or whatever other ones that are possibly out there. I can't really tell you. So it is
bunch of boring stuff. So you know what? While we're here, let's go ahead and get started, man.
Why not? Let's get rolling.
So number 10, Zach, why don't you tell us about who you've got?
My number 10 is actually the movie Youngblood, with a young Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze in it. And I think it's a phenomenal movie from what I remember on it. The one thing I do have to say about it, though, I guess the stick sword fighting scene at the one game where everyone's just kind of circled around them, that was the most weirdest part of the movie. Other than that, I thought it was really good. I think it's a very solid movie, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, it's a good one to start with at number 10.
No, absolutely. And that's why I also have Youngblood at my number 10. It's definitely a solid movie. It's nothing that is mind-blowing by any means, but it's something that, late at night, you're scrolling through TV and it just happens to be on. I'll sit there and watch it. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a movie I'll be like, I haven't seen this in a while. I'll throw it on. If I miss the first half of it, it is what it is. I'll watch the back half and just go on from there. But it's simply something I just, throw on and be like, all right, cool. It's something to watch. It's hockey. So if there's nothing else on, why not?
100%. So moving on up to number 9, I have the movie Indian Horse. Long story short, it is basically about a boy who's Native American. It dives into the racism of hockey and the disdain between hockey and the Native American culture and things like that. It's actually a really good movie. Some of the acting is really bad, but it's kind of par for the course for a lot of movies that are a little bit older or not as popular or anything like that. They just don't have the budget. But I enjoy the movie. But it's one of those things that I'm not going to actively go out and seek it. But it's kind of a good storytelling movie that you can get a point across.
Yeah, no, I've never even heard of it, so I'm definitely going to go check it out just to see what it's like. Because I'm all down for any type of hockey movie, especially if it's got like a story, that's unique, like you said, with Native American background and culture and stuff like that around hockey. I'll definitely go check this out because I'm always down to watch new movies, especially like I said, if it's a hockey related one. My number 9 is The Love Guru, with with Mike Myers. This one. It's definitely not something you need to take seriously, but it's still kind of funny just because of the fact that it's almost like the hockey version of Major League, where it's trying to help a franchise that hasn't won anything in a while in the Toronto Maple Leafs go win the Stanley Cup. And because Mike Myers is supposed to be like he's like a guru, and his like rival is Deepak Chopra and all this other stuff, but he's supposed to go help this hockey player on the Maple Leafs, I guess, try to find his game and stuff like that. It's very, it's on par for a Mike Myers movie where it's like, it's completely like off the wall, but it's still funny. And it kind of just, it makes the Maple Leafs actually look good compared to what they are in real life and actually win something. So like I said, it's kind of like the Major League of a hockey movie where it's just but it's good though. It's definitely one that's like I said, don't take this movie too seriously. Just enjoy it and just laugh at it because it's one of those where it's like it's bad, but it's like funny bad. Well, but you can still watch it and enjoy it because it's Mike Myers.
Earlier when I got your list, I saw the movie. I'm like, there's no way this is right because I've never seen it. So it's one of those things like, there's no way this is a freaking hockey movie. And I start looking more and I'm like, holy crap, it is. That is weird, but.
Yeah,
whatever.
Full on, yeah. And the guy who plays Mini-Me in the Austin Powers movies is the head coach of the Maple Leafs. So it just, like I said, like don't go into this expecting anything like monumentally good. Just go and enjoy and just laugh at it for the insanity that it is this movie. But it's so good though. Like I definitely recommend it as a movie that you just want to laugh at, just to kick back and just be like, all right, why not? Let's have some fun and just make fun of it, but also just enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. Zach, who's your number 8, my man?
I picked a classic Disney movie. It's HE Double Hockey Sticks. And if you're anyone is a Boy Meets World fan, you recognize the two guys that are actually who are in this movie that are from the show. It's Eric, which is Corey's older brother, and his roommate. I think his name is Jack in the show, but they're in a hockey movie together where Jack, the guy, I don't know, I forget the names of the characters in the movie, but I'm just going to go by the Boy Meets World character names. Jack is a hockey player who plays for, I think it's the Devils, but then he goes over to another team. I think it's the Angels or something like that. But then Eric, I guess the protagonist in the movie, he's supposed to do something for the Devil and like try to make Jack, I think, try to get better, change his game or something like that. But it's a pretty solid movie. I'm like I said, I haven't seen it in so long, but it's definitely worth watching if you're into watching a very different style of a hockey movie. But it's, like I said, if you're a Boy Meets World fan and you liked Eric and Jack together, this is definitely a movie you need to watch because it's actually pretty good. Like, not gonna lie, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, like I said, I think I can almost guarantee you I saw that a long time ago. It was probably after I watched Brink or something. Back when I was like 12 and I ended up watching that.
Yeah. I think that's why it's like one of those movie nights where it's like you see the kids jumping over the reels, like over the movie reels, like like when it was a Disney Channel original movie, it was going to be pretty solid. Yeah. So those were the nights, man. Like back
then, they're sitting there coming on the screen using the hockey sticks to make the little Disney logo in the corner.
Yeah. It was pretty good. Like I said, it's one of those movies like you kind of have to watch it because it's different, but it's good in my opinion. So
yeah. Well, my number 8, I have the classic movie regarding the goon role in the NHL, and it's Ice Guardians. If you want to watch,
it's a solid choice.
If you want to watch a movie with guys just beating the crap out of each other all the time, and really actually digging into the purpose of the goon role in the NHL, go watch this movie. It's great. Shockingly enough, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't notice this, I didn't even know about this movie until earlier last year. and I ended up watching it. It's like a movie / documentary type style thing. It's really good.
Yeah, it's basically just I wouldn't say goon. It's more of like the enforcer role, like because basically like they have the
That's
code.
what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, because guys don't like when you say goon, but if we're going by it's the enforcers where it's like they have the code and stuff like that. Like if a guy gets knocked on the ice, like you don't keep hitting him and stuff like that. And guys have to go learn. Some guys actually want to go learn boxing to get better. It's stuff like that. So it really breaks down to the mental aspects of what it was like to be that role, where you have to know that like, there's gonna be nights where you're gonna have to go fight other enforcers to, establish the tempo. So it's definitely it's a good documentary to watch in terms of just getting into the mental aspects and the psychology of what it's like to be a guy whose main role is to fight. Basically, it could be the AHL and the NHL, but this is definitely geared more towards like the AHL or the minors type thing, because that's basically where you have to like get noticed by teams.
Yeah,
because that's basically what it is, almost like.
Moving on to 7. I have Mystery Alaska.
Not bad.
A young, dashing, handsome Russell Crowe.
Would you really say young? Could you say young?
Compared to what he is now, yeah.
True. Very true.
Probably what, mid-30s, late 30s or something in this movie? I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, because this was like what in the mid-90s or something like that, late 90s.
I think earlier I looked at it. I think it was like 94, 95, something like that.
Wow. Okay, I didn't even know. Jeez, I didn't realize it was this old. My word.
Yeah, it's from what I remember, it's a good movie. This is one of the ones I haven't seen in a long time. So if you ask me the plot, straight up, dude, I don't remember. I just know it's a good movie, and it sticks out to me specifically because I remember watching this and I liked it a lot. Yeah,
it's really I have it higher on my list, but it's definitely a solid choice. Though it definitely it's not towards like the 10 spot. It's definitely somewhere like if you have other movies that you like better, it's a good like 5 through 7 movie if you want to watch it. Like you'll watch it more than once.
Yeah,
but it's not the one. I can see some people watching it maybe like once or twice, but it's not like the ones where you can go and watch it. Like it's on if you want to watch it every time. So it's a good spot for Mr. Alaska at 7. So I picked Sudden Death. This was with Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's a lot of, there's a lot of fight scenes, a lot of drama and stuff like that. It's definitely an action movie, but I like it because it's definitely centered around because the fact that it's at the Igloo. And it's like it's got the old, Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys. It's got, Jean-Claude Van Damme running around the arena and stuff like that. Because basically, I guess I don't know why, but for some reason, like I don't know why someone because they rigged the arena to blow up, and then Jean-Claude is basically trying to figure out where the bomb's at and who the bad guys are and stop them. And at one point, he does have a fight scene with one of the bad guys who's dressed up as Iceberg. And they fight in the kitchen, which is a phenomenal fight scene. And then Jean-Claude actually goes into the game as a goalie because they thought because the goalie got sick, and they thought he was him because he hid in his gear, and they actually threw him on the ice. And when he actually got scored on, and he actually knocked a dude out and got kicked out of a game. Yeah. But it's off. It's just like, what the heck am I watching? But it's actually I think it's a very underrated hockey movie just because the fact that like a lot of stuff goes around it, but the fact that it's actually at an NHL arena and it's at the Igloo. So
yeah, that's one I actually haven't seen. But seeing a scene where he beats the crap out of Iceberg,
yeah,
I'm 100% gonna watch it now just for that scene specifically.
Yeah, the kitchen scene where he's just beating the crap out of Iceberg. Yeah, because it's a Jean-Claude Van. He shows off like his his athletic abilities and stuff like that. Just flying around, grabbing like pipes from the ceiling to like do a double foot kick to Iceberg. It's wild, but I think it's an underrated movie.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So my number 6 was Ice Guardians. So like what Alex said, really good documentary movie about the psychology and like the code and stuff like that in terms of the instigators or the fighters and stuff like that. So like I said, it's definitely worth watching if you want to do a deep dive into like what it goes into being an enforcer in hockey overall. It is definitely late 2000s, so it's definitely before the whole enforcers are officially out of the league now, but it's definitely still worth watching. Yeah. So Alex, who do you have as number 6?
This is definitely one of the surprises. According to Zach, I have MVP, the most valuable primate.
It's definitely a surprise. I didn't realize you were going to have it this high. I didn't even think you were going to have this movie in general. By having it at 6, this is definitely one of the first surprises on the list for sure.
Look, I grew up loving movies like Air Bud and stuff like that.
Who did love Air Bud?
It's a freaking monkey playing hockey. Like, how can you not love the movie? Come on.
I've seen it once, and I thought it was okay. I wouldn't say it's one I want to watch more often, but it's solid. I have no problem with that.
Clearly, you do. I think we need to have a conversation session or something to understand why me having MVP at number 6 clearly offends you or something.
I never said it offended me. I just said it was a surprise. But
look,
teach their own, I guess.
It's a monkey playing hockey for the Nuggets. Deal with it. All right, cool. Moving on.
Yeah, that Nuggets jersey also looks like it's a rip off of a Boston Bruins jersey. So I'm kind of surprised you like it because I
don't know that yellow is more of that disgusting mustard from Nashville, in my opinion.
But no, if you think about it, if you just flip that, because the shoulder design in the front of the jersey, you flip it, it looks like the Bruins. Like, you can't tell me I'm wrong. Like, if you flip the colors, it looks like a Boston Bruins jersey, in my opinion.
If you look at it, he's got his sleeve rolled, or his left sleeve pulled up just a little bit in the picture on here. Yeah. Dude, he's about the same height as Marchand. So, yeah, Boston, that's fine. So, moving on to number 5, I have a movie I'm sure probably a lot of people haven't heard of. It's called Legend Number 17. It's a really good movie about the Soviet era in hockey. And an interesting fact, when I watched it, I haven't seen if there's a different version out, but the only one I found is the whole version is in Russian, and then you have to watch it with American subtitles.
So English
subtitles, American, whatever. Okay. Listen, I
had to mess with you at some point.
It's a long week. Okay, deal with it. So yeah, the whole movie was in Russian with English subtitles. It's a really good movie. I like it. It's one I haven't seen in a while, so I don't really remember the plot. You know, after me watching The Office 5 billion times, I don't really remember it too much. But from what I remember, it's a good movie. I would absolutely watch it again in Russian again. Probably would like to see it in English, but still, nonetheless.
Yeah, I definitely need to check it out for sure, because I'm always interested in, like, you know, historical stuff like that, especially around hockey. Like, anything historical hockey, I'll definitely watch it, which is funny because my number 5 is called Red Army, which is a documentary surrounded around the Russian hockey team. Can't tell you very much more about that because I don't really remember a whole lot of it myself, but it's definitely basically our number 5 was the all Russian triple CP picks.
Yeah,
but
ironic enough.
But no, the Red Army is really good too. Another solid movie. I don't know if it's a documentary, but it's another solid movie. It's surrounded around the culture and like what it was like to play for the Russian team and stuff like that.
Yeah,
back during the Cold War. So I'd say it's definitely another one that is a must watch for people who love, you know, doing historical movies and that are especially surrounded around sports. Yeah. Like I said, mainly hockey. So
for sure.
Yeah, Legend Number 17 and Red Army. It's funny how we have 2 Russian movies as our number 5s.
Oh, it definitely. I wasn't expecting it until we were putting it together, but still, I mean, I think they're both good movies that definitely watches.
Yeah. Definitely more than once, especially if you're talking about the number 5 spot. These are ones you want to watch like a couple of times because, you know, you might miss something, or, you know, it's just something it's good that you would want to watch more often.
Yeah. So moving on to number 4, Zach and I actually have the same pick for this. Zach, who do we have at number 4?
Slapshot is our number 4 movie, and I know people are like, "What 4? It should be like number 1. It's the best hockey movie ever." I get it.
That's the beauty of these. Everybody has their own opinion, and we are also entitled to ours. If you don't like it, make your own podcast and make your own top 10 hockey movies. And guess what? Then we can sit there and talk about why our movies that are number 1 aren't number 1. So,
yeah. Well, it's funny because I was actually talking to my father-in-law today. He said that that Slapshot movie for him is probably the best one, which is surprising. Yeah, I'm like, oh, Slapshot, that's interesting that you think that's the best one. Which I mean, a lot of people say what is the best one, but for me, it's like it's good. Like I'll watch it more than once. I guess for me, it's kind of like I guess the franchise as a whole, kind of like number 2 and 3, kind of tainted the Slapshot name, in my opinion, a little bit.
Yeah,
but if we're talking about just this movie alone, it's phenomenal. Like it's so good. Like it definitely shows you like the lower end minor league, hockey, what it was like back then, where it was like a free for all, basically like just basic line brawls every game and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good movie. Like if this is on, you have to watch it because it's just so good. But I think for me, it's just the fact of like how the rest of the franchise went. It kind of like Slapshot. It kind of takes a little bit of points away from me, but I mean, still number 4, you can't go wrong with Slapshot. This movie has to be on a hockey list, and it has to be at least in the top 5.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You can't beat the Hanson brothers. I mean, it's one of those things that it's a classic movie, just like some of our top 3 movies are. It's a classic movie, and that's why it has to be here. Now, again, as I said, we're entitled to our opinions. Do I think this is the best movie? No, absolutely not, because it's my number 4, and same with Zach. But it's still a classic and iconic hockey movie. Like,
oh, for sure.
I will literally argue that with anybody. It's still an iconic movie, hands down in the top 5 hockey movies. It should be for everybody.
And honestly, those jerseys are really nice for a minor league team, like a desolate minor league team out of, I think it was like West Virginia. I think it was Charleston, West Virginia. Still fire jerseys. Like I would still want to get one of those because they're really nice.
Yeah, I was actually at the Blue Jackets game last night, and I saw like 5 different people with one of these on. It's like, okay, cool.
And we've talked about on our normal show, like don't be that guy who's wearing a random jersey to a game that no one's actually playing. But I think the Chiefs, these Chiefs jerseys, you get the exception with the Chiefs jersey because of the fact that because the movie is so iconic, and they're not really a real team. You really can't. No one can get really mad at you for that. So this is the one exception, non-team that's playing right now jersey that you can wear to a game that you can get away with.
You can also get away with this one and this one. But we're not going to say who it is because you need to watch the video version to see what these are. But these 2 are also exceptions.
I agree. And one of them, the team is actually real. So yes, if we're talking about non-real team jerseys, the Chiefs are definitely one, and yes, the other one is another one as well. But we'll get to that question here in a little bit about one of the jerseys, why it's not on my top 10.
So before we move into the top 3, we felt that we had to do this. We have one honorable mention here. It is not a movie. We are talking about the best hockey television series ever, and I will fight you, and that is Letterkenny. There's hands
down the best.
Now, is it the only hockey TV show? Most likely, but I don't care.
Well, I mean, they do have the new Mighty Ducks TV show, and they have the cartoon Mighty Ducks show that they had back in the 90s. That was pretty solid too. The new Mighty Ducks series has been out at the time of this recording for 18 hours, so we can't really rank it too well. But it's one of those things. We're ranking the top 10 movies. We felt that we had to give Letterkenny a fair shake and at least be an honorable mention in this, even though it's not a movie. Yeah, and I also say we have to, like I said, the animated Mighty Ducks show that did have like a season, still solid. Solid. But if we're talking like the best show around hockey, it's Letterkenny by far. Like you can't disagree with that.
All right. So moving on to our top 3. This is where things get fun because we've seen these movies hundreds of times and we have takes. Number 3, I have the beautiful, glorious Goon. And the fact that you don't have this yet is frustrating. Okay.
Spoiler alert. It's not even in my top 2.
But
like Goon's not even on my list. Let alone
I know.
Yet.
Well, okay. I was trying not to spoil it for people, but why did you not have Goon on your list? Insane. All right. You know what? Fine. Goon is a fantastic movie about the very intelligent, very wonderful Doug Glatt playing for the Halifax Highlanders, who sucks at hockey. He's terrible at skating, but he's just out there to beat the crap out of everybody. And he does very good at that. And it's one of those things I love it. If you guys are watching the video version, you look at the picture. I know it's from the second Goon. I don't care. Okay. It's still the same thing. Deal with it. But I love Goon. The second one is really good too. But we had a stipulation in this. So every series of movies that they have, we're only going to do one. While I love the second Goon, the first one is the better one between them. And I love it.
And that's also why we don't have 3 Mighty Ducks movies on this list, because that'd make it way too easy to put all 3 Mighty Ducks movies on this list because
exactly. But it's for me, Goon. I love it. It's one of those things that the movie. It's not a serious movie, but it's, dude, pick 69. It's hilarious. You can't not love that kind of stuff. I mean, it's such a good movie. It's very violent and raunchy in some spots, but I love watching Goon. Zach, who do you have at number 3?
I have Mr. Alaska at number 3, where I said your 7 was nice. It was a nice pick, but I definitely said mine was higher. And I definitely say number 3 because there's so much that goes to this movie that's just so great for the fact it's just a small town. It's just a small town in, Alaska called Mystery. And they have these, I think it was like Saturday or Sunday. It was like these special games that they have. And it was like, if you were picked to play in that game, that was like the highest honor you can be because you play on the pond, you play this game, and it's just so phenomenal. And for the fact that this guy who was originally from there left because he didn't like Mystery Alaska, living there, he moved to New York. He somehow managed to get this like exhibition game between the team in Mystery Alaska because basically like everyone knows that this team in Mystery Alaska is so good because all they do is play hockey consistently and they're just always phenomenal players. And they got this exhibition game against the Rangers, and they actually did it in Mystery, Alaska, on the lake. It was just on the pond. It was just so good. It's just a phenomenal movie. It's like if this is on TV or if I manage to, I still haven't owned. I don't want to own this movie. I can't. It's kind of hard to find it, but if this is on, I'm watching it 100%. Like this movie is just so great. Like I don't know how. Like it's a very underrated movie that not a lot of people know about. Like if you want to watch a good hockey movie, go watch Mystery Alaska because you are going to enjoy it. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm the same way with Goon. I tell people to watch it. Now, again, it's more
not underrated though. It's not underrated though.
Everyone loves it. No, well, it is. It's more of. It's not a movie to take seriously. It's purely for entertainment. Mystery Alaska is a very good movie from a legitimate hockey story standpoint. So
yes, yeah.
Sure. Moving on to 2, Zach. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is a Mighty Ducks movie, but it's not the number 1 Mighty Ducks movie. It is D2, The Mighty Ducks. And a lot of people are like, wait, the second one? Why isn't it the first one? The first one's good. It's like a 1A, 1B in terms of which Ducks movie is my favorite. But for me, D2 is the best, just because of the fact it's the Junior Goodwill games. We get the introduction of Mendoza and the Bash brothers. Julie the Cat Gaffney, you get, Russ Tyler on the team. It's just the fact you get to play all these other countries. So you see Jamaica, Iceland and stuff like that. They try to act like Iceland is like the big bad hockey team when you're like, there's no Team Canada, which is weird. Like, so you're gonna make Iceland the bad guys, where you could easily just made the Canadians. Like the Canadian team, the bad guys, because everyone knows Canada is the more prolific, one of the top teams in the world in hockey. So you make it Iceland, but like I always have to watch this movie. It's just so great, and I don't know if you don't like D2 the Mighty Ducks. I don't know what to tell you. It's for me. This is the best one because there's just more of you get more, I guess, hockey in this sense compared to the first one. But
okay. Yeah, I do like D2. It's a really good movie. Not my favorite out of them all, but I I don't not like any of them. It's still a good movie.
Honestly, though, I think that Julie the Cat Gaffney gets absolutely shafted this entire movie because of the fact that she's way better than Goldberg, and she plays like maybe 30 seconds before getting kicked out in the Iceland game, and then comes in for the shootout to be like Gunnar Stahl, and that's it. That's all you see of her in the entire movie is the fact that she absolutely kills it for her team in Maine, for her high school team. And Bombay's like, no, we're going to play Goldberg. Yeah. Because he's our goalie. And Julia the Cat gets absolutely like no ice time at all. But at least she gets it in the third movie. But still, though, it's kind of like the third movie is yikes. But that's my only gripe with D2 is the fact that they should have won with a better goalie.
Yeah, understandable. Well, for my number 2, before I even say anything about it, my number 1 and 2 were so hard to decide which one to be at number 1 and number 2. So these can be interchanged. So essentially, think of these two as tied. But one had a slight edge over the other, and I'll explain why in a minute. But my number 2, I have Miracle. Incredible movie. 10 out of 10.
Oh, yes. Phenomenal.
Absolutely amazing. The story behind it is awesome. About the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. Nobody thought they had a chance. Sit there and put a pounding on Russia. And you just can't beat the movie. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, the movie's fantastic. And it's crazy though that you think about it, because that's when the NHL would not let their guys go play in the Olympics. And you basically, the U.S. actually had to send college kids every time for the Olympics to go play. And they've, like, there was one point they said, like, they lost to, like, the B team. I think it was like the Czech, it was like some Czech, I think it was like the Czech B team or something like that, or someone who was just like, they couldn't even beat the backup teams to the main country teams and stuff like that. And for the fact that, like, Herb Brooks was like, no, we're gonna play the Soviet way on the reverse on them and stuff like that. Like, Miracle is so good. And it's just the fact of what that team did with the fact that it was a bunch of college kids going up against guys who've been playing together for like 10 plus years. Like, yeah, it's so great.
I think what happened there, I mean, granted the movie helped, but Herb Brooks's coaching mentality changed the way the NHL is run a little bit, because, you have his iconic line in the movie, which they've said he said in real life of, I'm not picking the best players, I'm picking the right ones. That's absolutely true, because he showed that you don't need the best players in the world to be able to beat these guys. You need the right players that has a cohesive team and all that. Yeah. So it's great. And, while we're still on Miracle, Zach, who's your number 1?
My number 1 is Miracle. I mean, like I said, it's no real surprise that this is, I own this movie and I watched it so many times. Like, I can pretty much almost quote the entire movie. That's how good it is. It's so phenomenal. Just how, like we were talking about, just the story behind it. It's like what you said, Alex. He took a system where it's like, no, we're going to play with a team who can gel together and play for each other and not worry about the name, because that's all the NHL was worried about was, we're going to put our best guys on the ice and they're going to beat the brakes off them. When in reality, the NHL team absolutely just got smoked every time they played the Russians, because they just didn't play their style, didn't skate as like they didn't have the energy like the Russian team did, and they just didn't have a game plan or a system to run that could match them. There was just every man for himself, where the U.S. team is like, no, we're going to play a system. We're going to do it. Yeah. And we're going to buy into it. And that's why now you see teams with, dump and chase, pinching, crash the net. Like, you got more offensive defensive strategies now because of what Herbsbrook did. He made hockey. That's why his Minnesota teams were so good back in the 70s and 80s, because he had a system. And that's why you see teams now all around hockey have systems.
That's why, you look at it, he had a very defensively structured and specific system. And, if you look at coaches in the NHL now that have systems like this, John Tortorella, you got Barry Trotz. I mean, there's some of these guys have these defensive iconic systems that are very similar to that. Now, are they always effective? Nah, maybe not. It all depends.
Yeah, I mean, there's some skill that has to be involved. Certain guys that can fit the system. Yeah, because there's definitely some good defensive-minded counterattacking teams. It's just you got to make sure you have the right guys that fit in that system, because some guys can't play defensively, others are more offensive. So it's about what your style of play is.
Yep. Oh, for sure. That's why I have this beautiful Mike Ruzioni jersey behind me.
Gotta love it. I would say if I had to pick a guy, I'd probably get a Callahan's, because dude, like, he's just so great, and the guy who plays him did a phenomenal job too. Or Craig's. Like,
I was about to say Jimmy Craig. I mean,
very underrated.
Very underrated, and especially everything that was going on in his family at the time too.
Yeah.
He's been very outspoken about that, especially after the movie came out, and he's been able to talk about it. But it's to be able to put up that performance and stuff with everything that was going on, it's remarkable.
And the fact too, it's like you saw what happened after their exhibition game, like 2-3 days before the Olympics even started. Like, they get absolutely just, the brakes just got actually blown off just because of how Russia smoked them.
Yeah.
And Herb's like, oh, I'm going to start this other goalie. He's like, what are you talking about? I've been your goalie since day one. Like, you're not taking me out of my net.
Yep.
And you showed it. And they go beat West Germany. They just kick the crap out of Sweden, a bunch of other stuff. And then they, beat Russia, and then they go beat Finland. And which is still weird though, for the fact that, like, you had Russia still get a medal, but even though Finland was in the semifinal, they didn't get the silver in the movie. Like, it was still Russia and Sweden. And you're like, wait, what? Why didn't Finland get a medal? So,
yeah. Well, to round it off.
Yeah, who's your number one, Alex?
The Mighty Ducks. The OG Mighty Ducks. Good old Gordon Bombay, Charlie Conway. Those are the only two that matter. I'm sorry. But
what, even though Bombay says he hates hockey and he hates kids?
Yes. Quack, quack, quack. Okay? Quack. You can't beat the Mighty Ducks. Between our two number ones are the two best hockey movies ever. I'm sorry. Deal with it. They're so good. Nothing wrong with Miracle, but the Mighty Ducks, it's a classic movie. You see the Flying V. How many times have you seen that in Pee Wee games and stuff? Because the coaches want to have fun with it all the time.
It's fun, but it's super illegal. It's a super illegal hockey move because you're automatically offsides every single time.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. And then sitting there rocking no bucket on a penalty shot, or a shootout. Like, come on. Okay.
There's also a million interference penalties that are just never called in these movies because kids are just laying each other out left and right, and it's no one has the puck ever, and it's
being
just like
blatantly offsides. Like, granted, you can nitpick the stuff, but it's such an amazing movie.
I do have you go to Bar Down on YouTube. Who did it? I think it was Eric Kirk and Corwin from Bar Down. They actually it was Eric and Luca. They actually reffed both of they reffed D1 and the D2 movies. Like, they actually reffed the games, like how they were actually supposed to be called. Go watch those on YouTube. Phenomenal videos. They are so hilarious because they just talk about the movies and how there's so many blatant penalties that are just never called.
No, absolutely.
Especially in the second one with Robertson lassoing the dude out of the because it was going to be a clear charge and boarding on the same play. But there's so many, I guess this movie's good, but the discrepancy in the penalties is just like, wow, it is just shocking.
Yeah. Oh, all day. But it's it's a Hollywood movie. Miracle is historically accurate on stuff, and that's a very good movie. But Mighty Ducks is a very good entertainment movie, and you grew up on it. I mean,
yeah, I'm not hating it. Like I said, I would say if we were allowed to do full franchises, D1 and D2 would be in my top 4. Yeah. No problem. But we decided we can't do that because it makes it too easy to put 2 or 3 movies in the same franchise. In this, we wanted to make it a little bit harder for us. So yeah, like. For me, that's why I picked D2 because I think D2 is so good. And I think it's a little bit better than the first one, in my opinion, because it's you got a different storyline and it's more of like an Olympics type style movie, which I like. But this one, I mean, the first one is still good. Don't get me wrong; they're a very close 1-2 in terms of the franchise. But yeah, the first one's good. Yeah, you can't go wrong with the Mighty Ducks movie.
Yeah. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for our top 10 hockey movies. Again, I'm Alex and that's Zach. We love doing these. Let us know if you guys want us to do another ranking series. Well, absolutely do it. We love doing these. It's always fun.
Yeah, we might do some more jerseys from different leagues, stuff like that. Top hockey players that we like, current or in the past. We can go by decades if we wanted to. Yep. So I mean, we can do pretty much anything. If I don't know about fan bases, because that's definitely more. What'd you say, Alex? More objective?
Yeah, that's very subjective because
that'd be kind of hard. But if we do like, we're even thinking about doing reverse retro ranking, basically ranking our best reverse retro jerseys possibly soon too. So I mean, who knows? So we definitely have a lot of rankings that we're going to do for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But until next time, Zach, please tell the people what it is about here at Cannons and Tomahawks.
Beer, food, and hockey.
Thank you for listening to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. Beer, food, and hockey.